Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Fluent Journey podcast. I'm your host, Jasmine, and I'm so glad to have you with us today. I hope you're all doing well and feeling motivated to improve your English skills. If you're a beginner and just starting out, learning a new language can feel overwhelming at times. But don't worry, today's episode is designed to help make your English learning journey easier and more enjoyable. We'll be discussing some simple yet effective tricks that will help you learn English faster and with more confidence. These tips are perfect for beginners, and I'm sure they'll help you in your everyday learning. So, whether you're learning on your own, in school, or as part of a course, today's episode will provide you with practical steps you can start using right away. Let's dive in and explore how you can make your learning process more efficient and fun. All right. Let's dive into our first trick to help you on your English learning journey. Start with basic words. This is one of the most important steps you can take when learning any language, and English is no different. When you begin learning English, it's essential to focus on the most common and useful words. These are words that you will hear and use every single day. Imagine you're meeting someone new. What's the first thing you say? You probably say, "Hello," right? Or if you need help, you might say please or thank you. These simple words are the foundation of basic communication in any language. So, why is it so important to start with these basic words? Well, think about it. When you're just beginning, you want to be able to communicate as quickly as possible. And by learning the most common words first, you're building a strong base for future conversations. Let's start with some examples. Greetings are some of the first words we learn when learning English. Words like hello, good morning, and goodbye are essential. Imagine you're walking into a room or meeting someone for the first time. What's the first thing you'll likely say? Hello, or hi. Then there are words that show politeness and respect, like please and thank you. These are not only basic but incredibly important in English-speaking cultures. You'll use them all the time when asking for something or expressing gratitude. It's a small thing, but using please and thank you correctly will make you sound more natural and polite in your conversations. Another group of words that are really helpful for beginners are numbers and colours. Numbers like 1, 2, 3 are everywhere in daily life. You need them when you're shopping, talking about time, or counting things. And colours. Well, you probably use them to describe things every day. For example, red, blue, green are some of the most common words you'll hear in English. But you don't stop there. Everyday objects are also very important. These are words like book, pen, phone, chair, and table. Think about how often you're surrounded by these things and how often you need to talk about them in English. The more you know these basic words, the easier it is to understand what others are saying and respond in a conversation. To really make these words stick, it's important to practice them every day. And one great way to do that is by using flashcards. Flashcards are fantastic for beginners because they help you visually connect the word with its meaning. You can create your own flashcards or use apps like Anki or Quizlet, which are great for memorizing words. These apps also have spaced repetition systems, which means they help you review words at the right times so you don't forget them. Another great tool is language learning apps, like Duolingo or Babbel. These apps are designed for beginners and offer simple lessons that focus on basic words and phrases. You can use them on your phone anytime, whether you're sitting at home, commuting, or even taking a break at work or school. And if you prefer something physical, try labeling objects around your home with their English names. For example, put labels on your door, your fridge, or your books. This helps you connect the word to the object, and every time you look at it, you're reinforcing that word in your memory. Remember, learning English doesn't have to be complicated. By starting with the basics, greetings, numbers, colours, and everyday objects, you're building a strong foundation. These words will help you communicate in simple situations, and they'll also make it easier to understand more advanced topics later on. So take it slow, start small, and practice these basic words every day. It's all about repetition and consistency. You'll be amazed at how quickly you can start recognizing these words when you hear them and begin using them yourself in conversations. All right, moving on to our second trick to help you improve your English. Listen to English every day. This is such an important part of learning any language, and it's something that can significantly improve your pronunciation, vocabulary, and overall understanding of English. Now, why is listening so essential? Well, when you listen to English regularly, you begin to hear how words are pronounced, how sentences flow, and how people naturally use the language in everyday situations. It's not just about memorizing vocabulary, it's about getting a feel for the rhythm and sounds of English. The more you listen, the more familiar the language will become. You'll start recognizing words and phrases even if you don't know their exact meaning right away. And as your listening improves, you'll also find it easier to speak and understand English when interacting with others. So, what kind of materials should you listen to as a beginner? There are a ton of options out there, and the key is to start simple and build your way up. Let's begin with one of the easiest and most fun options: English songs. Songs are a fantastic way to get used to the sounds of the language, and they're often catchy, which makes them easy to remember. When you listen to songs, pay attention to the words they're singing. This will help you understand the pronunciation and rhythm of everyday speech. You don't have to understand every single word. Instead, focus on getting the general idea and listening for patterns in the language. Next, we have cartoons. Yes, cartoons. I know it may sound a bit silly, but cartoons are actually an excellent resource for beginners. Why? Because they are often slower paced, and the language used is simple and clear. Plus, the characters in cartoons speak directly to the audience, making it easier to understand their words. Shows like Peppa Pig, Sesame Street, and Dora the Explorer are all great examples of programs that use simple English for beginners. And don't worry if the shows are targeted towards kids, that's actually perfect. The language is basic, and the visuals help you understand the context of what's being said. Another great resource for beginners is podcasts. Yes, podcasts are a fantastic way to improve your listening skills. As a beginner, you can look for podcasts that are specifically designed for people learning English. Many podcasts offer slow, clear speech and will break down phrases and vocabulary in a way that's easy to follow. Shows like The English We Speak and BBC Learning English are great examples. These podcasts typically focus on practical English that you can use in real-life situations, and they're perfect for beginners who want to improve both their listening and speaking skills. Now, as you listen to these materials, there's a trick that can help you understand more easily and improve your listening skills faster. Use subtitles. When you first start listening to English, it can be difficult to understand everything, especially if the speakers are talking quickly or using unfamiliar words. One way to make this easier is to use subtitles. If you're watching a video or listening to a podcast, try turning on the English subtitles. This will help you connect the words you hear with the words you see written down. It's a great way to reinforce new vocabulary and improve your understanding of pronunciation. Once you've become comfortable reading the subtitles and understanding the material, challenge yourself by turning them off. This is where the real progress happens. At first, it might be hard to follow without subtitles, but with practice, you'll start to understand more of what's being said just by listening. And as you do this more regularly, your listening comprehension will improve significantly. You don't have to spend hours listening every day, but even 15 to 30 minutes a day can make a big difference. And if you want to make it even more effective, try listening to the same material multiple times. Repetition is key. The more you hear something, the easier it will be to understand it the next time. And remember, the goal isn't to understand everything at once. It's okay to not catch every single word. What matters is that you keep practicing. The more you expose yourself to English through listening, the more confident and comfortable you will become with the language. So, try to incorporate listening into your daily routine. Whether you're commuting, exercising, or doing housework, listening to English can fit into your day without you having to make extra time for it. And trust me, over time, you'll start noticing improvements in your pronunciation, vocabulary, and overall understanding of English. Now, let's move on to our third trick. Speak a little every day. I know that many beginners feel nervous or afraid to speak in English, especially when they're worried about making mistakes. But let me tell you something really important. Don't be afraid of mistakes. Making mistakes is a natural part of the learning process, and it's the only way to improve. When we learn a language, we often worry about sounding perfect. But the truth is, the more we speak, the faster we improve. So my advice to you is, start speaking every day, even if it's just a little bit. This is how you build confidence and get comfortable using English in real-life situations. Now, you don't need to start with long, complicated sentences. In fact, it's much better to start simple. Use basic phrases that are easy to remember and that you can use right away. For example, when you introduce yourself to someone, you can say, "My name is Hamza." Simple, right? Or if you want to talk about something you like, you could say, "I like music" or "I like movies." These are short, basic sentences, but they're powerful because they allow you to start practicing right from the beginning. Another easy sentence structure to practice is, "I have." For example, "I have a dog," "I have a book," or "I have a question." These simple sentences are so useful in everyday conversation, and once you learn them, you'll feel much more confident talking about things around you. The key here is to speak consistently. It doesn't matter if you're not fluent yet. What matters is that you're getting comfortable with the process of speaking, and when you make mistakes, don't stress about it. In fact, I encourage you to make mistakes. Every time you make a mistake, you're learning something new. You'll remember that word or phrase better the next time you need it. One of the best ways to practice speaking is by talking to yourself in English. I know it might feel a little strange at first, but trust me, it works. Talk to yourself about your day. For example, you could say, "I went to the store today," or "I'm going to watch a movie later." If you're cooking, describe the steps out loud in English. "I'm chopping the vegetables," or "I'm boiling the pasta." This may seem simple, but it's a great way to build your vocabulary and get used to speaking in English without any pressure. Another great option is to practice speaking with a friend or language partner. Find someone who is also learning English, or even a fluent speaker who can help you along the way. Practicing with a friend makes speaking less intimidating because you're both in the learning process together. You can take turns asking each other simple questions like, "What's your name?" "Where are you from?" or "What do you do for fun?" If you don't have a speaking partner, you can also try language exchange apps. Apps like HelloTalk or Tandem allow you to connect with people around the world who are also learning a language. You can chat with them via text or even through voice messages, and it's a great way to practice speaking. But the most important thing to remember is to speak every day, even if it's just for a few minutes. Practice makes perfect, and the more you speak, the more natural it will feel. Soon you'll start to notice that you're becoming more confident and comfortable with your English speaking skills. Remember, don't worry about sounding perfect. The goal isn't to be flawless, but to be understood. You'll find that the more you speak, the easier it becomes, and the less you'll worry about making mistakes. So whether you're talking to yourself, practicing with a friend, or using language apps, make sure to speak a little every day. Your confidence will grow, and before you know it, you'll be speaking English more easily and naturally. Now, let's talk about our fourth trick. Learn through stories. This is one of my personal favorites because stories make learning fun and engaging. When we hear or read stories, we're not just learning random words or phrases, we're connecting with the language on a deeper level. Why are stories so effective for learning English? Well, they give us context. When we hear a story, we understand the meaning of words based on the situation, which makes it easier to remember them. Plus, stories often repeat key phrases, which helps reinforce new vocabulary. For beginners, I recommend starting with simple English books or short stories. There are many books specifically designed for new learners, and they use simple words and short sentences to help you understand the language without feeling overwhelmed. A great example is The Very Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carle. It's a short, fun book with easy-to-understand sentences and beautiful illustrations. If you're looking for something a bit longer, try reading adapted classics. Books like Alice in Wonderland or The Wizard of Oz are available in simplified versions for beginner learners. These books still tell great stories, but they use simpler vocabulary and sentence structures that make them more accessible for someone just starting out. Another way to practice through stories is by listening to audiobooks or podcasts. There are many beginner-level audiobooks available that are both entertaining and educational. Listening to stories helps improve your listening skills, while reading along can help with pronunciation and comprehension. Here's a helpful tip. Try reading out loud when you practice with stories. Reading aloud not only helps you improve your pronunciation, but it also helps you remember the words better. You can pause after each sentence and repeat what you've read, focusing on the pronunciation of each word. It's a great way to improve your speaking skills while also learning new vocabulary. Let's move on to our fifth and final trick. Use English in daily life. This one is all about making English a part of your everyday routine, so it feels more natural and less like studying. The first thing you can do is change the language settings on your phone or computer to English. This simple change will help you learn new words while using your device. You'll start seeing common words like settings, messages, camera, and apps in English. The more you interact with these words, the more familiar they will become. Plus, it's a subtle way to practice throughout your day without much effort. Another great idea is to label objects around your house with their English names. For example, put a label on your door that says door, your mirror that says mirror, or your fridge that says fridge. This way, whenever you see these objects, you'll reinforce the English word associated with them. It's a very visual method of learning that's also practical. You can even label your kitchen items like spoon, fork, plate, or cup. This helps you connect everyday objects with their English words and gives you constant exposure to the language. And here's another tip. Write a small English diary every day. It doesn't have to be long or complicated, just a few sentences about your day. For example, you could write, "Today I went to the store and bought milk," or "I watched a movie and had fun." This practice helps you think in English, and it's a great way to reinforce sentence structures and vocabulary. When you write in English every day, you're actively using the language, which helps improve your writing and speaking skills. Plus, you'll start noticing improvements in how quickly you can form sentences and express yourself in English. All right, let's do a quick recap of today's tricks. First, we talked about the importance of starting with basic words. By learning common words like greetings, numbers, and everyday objects, you'll be able to communicate right away. Then, we discussed listening to English every day. Listening to songs, cartoons, and podcasts helps you improve your pronunciation and understanding. Don't forget to use subtitles at first, then challenge yourself by listening without them. Next, we talked about speaking a little every day. The key is consistency. Speak even if it's just a few simple sentences. Don't be afraid of mistakes. Every mistake is a learning opportunity. Then we learned how stories make learning fun and easy. By reading simple English books and listening to stories, you'll build your vocabulary while enjoying the process. And finally, we talked about using English in your daily life. Change your phone language, label objects around the house, and keep a small English diary. These little steps will help you practice English without feeling like you're studying. Remember, learning English is a journey, and every small step you take gets you closer to your goal. So, make sure to practice a little every day and enjoy the process. You've got this. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope these tips help you on your learning journey. Keep practicing, stay consistent, and most importantly, don't give up. Until next time, take care and keep learning English every day.